I'm like, man, they're just incredible people that are a part of our community. Just look at yourself and say, I'm incredible. And creative. And there's so much creativity in this community. Many of us have gotten the opportunity recently to go and see Oscar Siong, the lead in Supreme Leader, I was about to say fearless leader, Supreme Leader here, you know, the world premiere here in Dallas. And so I love seeing the pictures on social media and all of that, and people getting to see Oscar. He sneaks out. He didn't do that when I went to see him, but that's okay. But, you know, and sneaks out, and everybody gets their photo ops, and everybody goes to dinner together. So if you haven't seen Supreme Leader, go before that plays off. And then this morning, there was another big announcement of someone in our community that I just want to give a shout out to. So every month, we get this beautiful stuff up here in our altar and all around our sacred space team. And our beloved practitioner, Paula Armold, used to lead that until she transitioned recently. And a member of that team stepped up as the lead, and that's Terry Becker, and she's here. And she just, Terry, yes, and if get the Dallas Morning News in the Sunday section, she just got voted Best of Dallas for design in the entire city. So we just want to give a shout out for her too. Woo, 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 woo. I mean, that's huge. So if you're creative, got talent, just come on, because CSLDallas, when we put our principles, our faith, our philosophy into play, it just gets better and better and better. Right? So that's what it's all about, yeah. So I just wanted to say that. Now, good morning. So all month we're talking about this finding hope and trust in today's world. I mean, there's stuff going on. There's stuff going on in our own lives. I don't know about you, some days it's just like, wow, you know, it feels like a Mack truck might have hit you or whatever. There are losses, there's all kinds of things, and then if we look at collectively in humanity and things going on in the world, there's that going on. So how do we continue to find trust and hope in this world? And today, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on finding hope, okay? Because it's not lost. Never has been, never shall be. So we're going to find hope. And as Cleo talked about, we have to remember the good. And as we remember the good, we're able to have more hope. And it is a conscious choice. This is the thing that's so significantly important. Every day when we wake up, every night when we go to sleep, and everything in between, it's a conscious choice. What are we consciously choosing to focus on? What are we consciously choosing to curate? You know, like curating what is coming into our consciousness. That was a word that Petra used recently, and I just started thinking about it. Curating. What comes into our consciousness? Well, a curator is a very creative person. You know, a curator, basically, their job is to preserve or protect art, to select new pieces and new art all the time, to bring the new and the good in, to display it and arrange it. And so I love that idea of being a curator for our consciousness and bringing new things in and protecting the good in our life and our thoughts, and putting it on display, and coming from that inside out place, and how we move in the world. To become that curator. To always notice what I'm focusing on, what you're focusing on in this moment, right now, in each and every day. And there is fear, and there is some negativity, and there are some stuff going on in the world, but what are we focusing on consciously? And what do we overarchingly believe about humanity and the way humanity is and the way it's working? And so the question comes today, like, can it be changed from a spiritual point of view? If we curate our consciousness, can this be changed from a spiritual point of view? So I'm beginning with a significantly important quote by Ernest Holmes. And Ernest Holmes says that, not that one. I don't want that one. There we go. Ernest Holmes says, all our reactions to life are related to our spiritual convictions. We cannot escape that. Now look, just even in that moment, something just happened to me. And I instantly, my go-to place is all is well and all is good. And I'm like, something's going to happen good. And I just click. Didn't know where that slide was. But all of our reactions are related to our spiritual convictions. So we can shore up our spiritual convictions in our life. And we can't escape this. He says, just as a child needs to have confidence in his or her parents, so we all need the same confidence in the power that is greater than we are. See, he says science and psychology and medicine, as much as we need them, are inadequate to meet all of the problems of life. It is only when we feel in partnership with life that we can hope to live together in peace and harmony. I ask you, do you feel like you're in partnership with life itself, with the universal presence, that which you choose to call it? When we're in partnership, there's that peace and harmony within our life, that the universe is for our good. Recently, I saw a newspaper article, and it wasn't that long ago, and it referenced a newspaper article, and the article said that everything was going to hell in a handbasket. The kids aren't listening to their parents anymore. People don't want to work the way they're supposed to work, right? The politicians don't know what they're doing. The cities are going to the dogs, all this stuff. And it said, the amazing thing, what this article said about this article, was it was from the Roman Empire newspaper from like 40 BCE. And yet it could be found in any newspaper in any decade that we've been living, yes? I mean, like, even today, it's just there. It's been there. But that, actually, if we look at that, it's sort of been happening for quite a while, all this stuff, going to hell in a handbasket. I have to look that phrase up and say, where did that come from? But anyway, you know, it's been going on for so long, we can actually find hope in that. Because life itself has been reported in some form or another since 40 BCE, and it's still here. We're still here. We're still evolving. We're still growing. Right? Thank you, God. Thank you, Spirit. So I want you to contemplate, like, what are our reactions to life when something happens? Where's the go-to place, right? Where do we focus on? Where do you focus on? Where's your go-to place? And sometimes, I don't know about you, but I'm looking for proof. I'm looking for proof that it's going to hell in a handbasket. I'm the only one. Like, there it is again. There it is again. See, there it is again. It's not getting better. No, it's getting worse. There it is. There's another trial. Oh, what's that going to be? Right? What's the outcome? Sometimes I do, and I have to stop. I have to say, no, my spiritual conviction is that life is for our good. I have conviction in that life is for our good. Ernest Holmes talks about in this teaching that everything we consciously hold inside ourselves makes an enormous difference. When we look for the good, when we hold that inside and we look for it, it shows up more, right? When we hold out hope that things are going to turn out for the best, they tend to do that. When we know that all in all, by and by, generally speaking, people are good because everybody is this life itself showing up in an individualized expression, that life turns out and shows up as is good, then it happens more and more. And every day that we look for this good and we know that life is in partnership with each of us, we show up differently. And every day of our life, as long as we have it, we can impact everything that happens in life in ways that we don't even know, if we're looking for the good. I love this story that I came across, and I wanted to share it. There was an old man talking to a young man, and the young man asked, "Do you remember me?" The old man says no. Then the young man tells him, "Well, I was one of your students a long time ago." And this teacher asked, "Well, what do you do? What do you do in life now?" And this young man says, "I'm a teacher. That's what I became." He says, "Ah, good, like me." He said, "Yes, in fact, I became a teacher because you inspired me to be like you." So the older man was curious, and he asked him, he said, "At what time did you decide to become a teacher?" And this young man tells him this. He said, "On this particular day, a friend of mine in the class came in with a very nice new watch. And I decided I wanted it. So I stole it. I took it out of his pocket. And shortly after that, the friend noticed that his watch was missing. And he immediately complained to the teacher. Who was you? Then you addressed the class saying, 'This student's watch was stolen during class today. Whoever stole it, please return it.' But I didn't give it back. I didn't want to. So you proceeded to close the door. And you told us to all stand up in a really tight circle around each other, with you included. And that you were going to search the pockets one by one until you found the watch. However, you told us to close our eyes. You said, 'Everybody close your eyes,' because you only would look for the watch if all of our eyes were closed. So we did as you instructed, and you went from pocket to pocket to pocket. You went through my pocket, you found the watch, and you took it. And you kept searching everyone's pocket. And when you were done, you said, 'Open your eyes, we have the watch.' You didn't tell on me, and you never mentioned the episode. You never said who stole the watch, and that day you saved my dignity forever. And it was the most shameful day of my life. But this was also the day that I decided not to become a thief, but to become a teacher. Because you didn't say anything, nor did you scold me or take me aside and try to give me some moral lesson. So I received your message clearly in how you showed up. And thanks to you, I understood what it means to be a real educator and in partnership with the people in the class." He then asked, "Do you remember that episode, Professor?" He said, "Yeah, I remember the situation with the stolen watch. I remember looking in everyone's pocket, but I don't remember you. because I had my eyes closed too. Yeah, what are we looking for? What are we looking from? What are we focusing on? How are we being with one another? There's so much hope that we can find. There's so much hope for humanity. Now, Ernest Holmes says that this spirit is happy, whole, free, filled with joy, eternal in its existence, and can provide you with everlasting expansion. All your highest hopes and dreams have come from it. The echo of its being is in your intellect. The voice of its unspoken words is in your mind. The feeling of its light and its life is in your heart. The emotion of its imagination is in your soul. You see, this is who we are. All of us is what this is. There's nothing of us that isn't. And it's how we show up, and we can find hope. He says that the greatest discovery that has ever been made in the entire history of the human race, the thing that shall finally deliver to us the hopes of the ages, is that thing, deep, cryptic, hidden, which came with us, shall go with us. And it's in the consciousness of our own mind, in our own soul. It goes everywhere we go. Right? So the spirit of this universal presence, this divine oceanic substance is within us. It is us. If you're a follower of the teachings of Jesus, I love the metaphysical teachings of Jesus. Jesus said that when we pray, we are to go into our closet. But he wasn't talking about an actual closet. Don't go home and run into your closet and shut the door and pray. It was a metaphor, right? He said, basically what he's saying is to go into ourselves, to turn within, because that's where the kingdom of heaven is. It's within us. It's the best place to discover spirit, this partnership, this universal presence. And as we do that, there's another quote. All that we shall ever know or hope to be or remember or anticipate is an action or movement of consciousness within our own minds. Okay, so we're moving and we're in the consciousness of our own minds. And now I want us to start finding some hope. Are y'all ready? Yeah. Okay, because I have some today. We can look for it. We can hold out for it. And it's here. It's everywhere if we look for it. So we're going to focus on it. The first thing that I want to tell you is Petra has shared this with some friends. You can write this down. There's a website called Future Crunch, futurecrunch.com. Okay? If you want some good news, go to futurecrunch.com. They are not sponsoring this message. And you can get, she says it's about once a week. But I found another one, which I really want to share with you on Instagram, and you can get that, but you got to find this. It's called the Happy Broadcast. You can follow it. It's the Happy Broadcast. I want to share some news from, and everything you're about to see is an artist that does all of this work, okay? So it's not only great news, but it's a great artist as well. Now, some great hope here. Do you know that Native Americans were reduced to 250,000 by the 1900s, but years of resilience and battles over the rights have allowed the communities to rebound to their largest size in modern U.S. history, and it is now almost 10 million Native Americans in this country. In fact, I didn't include this, but this was one I saw as well. Australia just gave significant land back to the indigenous people, right? And it is happening all over the place, all right? You can, here's another one. Recognizing that food is medicine, a Boston hospital built an organic farm on its roof that provides 6,000 pounds of vegetables a year for their patients and staff. I mean, come on, we can build vegetable gardens on roofs and eat good food. Isn't that cool? I got some hope. The age of coal is coming to an end. Can we just clap that the age of coal is coming to an end? Since the 2015 Paris Climate Agreement, 76%, I'm so excited, I have to get through all these, I'm just really excited. 70% of planned coal power plants have been scrapped, right? Meaning 44 countries will no longer invest in coal plants. Okay, that's significant. I got some hope. Yes? All right. And whales, can we just, I'm not whaling, and I'm not talking about the big fish. I'm talking about whales. Whales, unlike Texas, excuse me, I had something in my throat, makes Black history lessons mandatory in new school curriculum. All students will be taught about the contribution of Black, Asian, and minority ethnic communities to Welsh society. Okay. I got some hope. If they can do it, we can too. Y'all remember hearing about the ozone layer when we were younger? Like holes in the ozone layer? Well, we haven't heard much about it in years. I find it interesting. That's because the scientists did a pretty good job of telling us about it. And in 1985, atmospheric scientists in Antarctica noticed something troubling. And they did. They observed that the ozone layer, the layer of gas that deflects this sun radiation, I'm not a scientist, I'm going to do it as best I can, was on track to be wiped out in the next few decades. That was 1985, right? We're like sort of around that, right? So they caused worldwide alarm. Ozone layer going bad, right? And they mounted a big campaign and banning all the fluorocarbons. You remember that? All these things. And their effort was so successful. CFC consumption declined from 800,000 metric tons in 1980, 800,000, to an estimated 156 metric tons in 2014. And if we fast forward to today, the ozone layer is on a path to recovery, if not fully restored. Okay, can we just clap for the ozone layer? So the prediction is by 2050, it's going to be back to where it was in 1980, like really good. And so that helps with us with climate change. So we're doing good on that ozone layer. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see what I got next. Okay. There is a startup that's using artificial intelligence in supermarkets to dynamically change prices. The closer the product gets to its expiration date, right, or it's not going to be good, it goes cheaper and cheaper and cheaper for people to buy, and that, if we use this in all the grocery stores, that could reduce food waste by 40%. Isn't that cool? Yes. Okay, now let's talk about whales, the ones that swim in the thing, okay? Scientific research now indicates more clearly than ever that our carbon footprint, the release of CO2 in the atmosphere, is contributing to global warming. Y'all know that, right? Yes, we've heard that, right? And it's this greenhouse effect. There's hope. They have now discovered a low-tech solution to the problem that's not only effective and economical, but also has a successful funding model. You know what it is? Who said that? Whales. Whales. So whales, I want you to know, when it comes to saving the planet, one whale is worth thousands of trees. Did y'all know that? We got to do a whole campaign on Save the Whales. Marine biologists have discovered that they play a significant role in capturing carbon from the atmosphere. That, let's see, each great whale sequesters 33 tons of CO2 on the average, taking that carbon out of the atmosphere, and have been doing so for centuries. A tree, meanwhile, absorbs only up to 48 pounds. Okay, 33 tons compared to 48 pounds for a tree. One whale, one tree. Whales. Okay, I got to keep going. So whales could, we're talking 37 billion metric tons of CO2 and whales. So we could just, let's save the whales, y'all, because whales will save us. Yes. So somebody start that campaign. Malaria. We've heard about malaria our entire life. Now, it's been one of the biggest scourges on humanity for millennia, and it mostly kills babies and infants. There are 229 million cases of malaria a year, 94% of them in Africa. They now finally have a malaria vaccine. Can we clap for a vaccine? Okay. Y'all are helping me here. So this is a breakthrough for science, child health, and malaria control. And this is just unbelievable to have a malaria vaccine. There's hope. Those mosquitoes, you ain't going to be able to kill us anymore. Isn't that great? Yeah. Okay. Now, another one. The aviation industry, you know, the planes, we know this, emits 2.5% of all carbon dioxide emissions in the U.S. alone. And it is responsible for 3.5% of global warming. So if we could do something with these planes, we could do something big. Yes? So after 4 years of searching, scientists have found a new plant-based aviation fuel plant-based fuel, y'all, that could significantly reduce the environmental impact of flying. Are you ready? Because who loves to fly? Okay, good. All right, now, who loves hot dogs? This is an important question. Okay, who likes mustard on their hot dogs? Okay, well, we don't have to eat hot dogs, but it's mustard. It is mustard. It's researchers from the University of Georgia say a sustainable aviation fuel made from a type of mustard plant could reduce flying carbon footprint as much as 70%. Yeah, so nature has all of this on this planet if we listen to her. And so I don't know if y'all are YouTube people, but anybody heard of Mr. Beast? The young people have. Look up Mr. Beast. He's this really popular guy on YouTube. He gives a lot of money away and all this stuff. But anyway, he started something called Team Trees, just so you know. And in 2 years, with Mr. Beast and Mark Rober, these are two men, they actually started a campaign. And in 2 years, they planted over 23 million trees. Okay? Now, they've started a new campaign. You got to check this out. Hashtag Team Seas. Okay? Team Seas. Because there's pollution, you know, the straws, the bottles, the this, the that. Y'all have heard about it, all out in the ocean. And so they are using their YouTube popularity for philanthropic purposes. And they aim by the end of this year to remove 30 million pounds of trash from our oceans. Yes, and they're raising money. And they are raising money. And there are videos out there. Check it out. They're scooping up all this plastic. And so far, they have these, they're called 50-ton trash-eating robot barges that collect garbage in our oceans. And it's really fascinating to see what they're finding. And I've watched a few of them. They're really cool. And so far, just this year, they've already removed 13 million pounds of plastic and junk out of our oceans, y'all. So I share these examples. Somebody's going right now, searching it. Watch it later. I share these because there's so much hope that we can find. And there's so much hope that we can find. And it's back to, remember, be a curator in our consciousness. Every single day of our life, look for that good. Look for that hope. Look, and ye shall find it. Watching my 19-month-old granddaughter and how she just takes up life and just like with such joy and excitement gives me so much hope for the future of this world. As long as we cultivate that and curate that, right, and not squish that. She's given me so much hope for my own life because when I'm with her, I'm not doing anything else. So I'm learning, to be fully present. I'm learning patience. I'm learning that whatever this is, putting an A in the A on the little puzzle, and that she knows A is for apple and A is for Aria. I'm just like so amazed. And I'm like, wow, but that's me too. Like I didn't know how to do something a year ago, and now I know that A is for apple too. It gives me hope for the rest of my life. And when I watch her, I watch how she can grow and expand. And I want to end on this. I had to make sure I had the right slide. With a really beautiful quote from Ernest Holmes. Because he tells us, today, there will never be more of God, abundance, health, or happiness than is available to us today. And the only time we can experience what we may desire is today. We can't do it yesterday, and tomorrow hasn't arrived. So he tells us and shows us the way that we have to encompass right now in our thought all the good that we can ever hope to experience. That's your homework today, inside of you. I want you to encompass in your thought all the good that you can ever hope to experience. For out of that thought, he says, comes the joy of our life today and the pattern for our experience tomorrow. And I want you to have the highest hope that you can muster today. All the good, not only for your own life, but I ask you to spend some time and do that for humanity itself. All the good that you can muster inside of you and experience and feel. I want you to do that for all of the Arias on the planet right now. All of those children that aren't going to die in Africa after they receive that vaccine. There is so much hope. Let's focus on that. And then we're that teacher that has our eyes closed to the negative potential and impacting someone's life. And we keep our hope open to who we are to one another and the love that we are as each other. And so it is.